Now, test 2 here actually covers only chapter 7. So if you look at the chapter 7 review, that should be similar to this. But I'll do a few examples. Simplify. These are some questions I gave up in the past on test number 2. Simplify. X squared plus x minus 6 over x squared minus x minus 12. Now I'm going to assume your factoring is really good by this point. So I'm going to put the answer to this. When you factor this, this is x plus 3, x minus 2. Notice I reached the point I can do them in my head. You're probably not there yet, but take your time and factor the problem. This one, I can factor that x plus 3 times x minus 4. And you can see now the top and the bottom both have x plus 3. I can cancel that out. And what's left is x minus 2 over x minus 4. Let's simplify 3y squared plus 6y over 5y squared plus 10y. So notice you only have two terms here and a plus sign between them, so you should be thinking about the greatest common factor. What is the largest thing they have in common? 3y. If I take 3y, I took the 3 out, I took one of the y's, there's still one more. I took the y, 6 divided by 3 is actually a 2 here. This one here, I can take 5y out. What's left is y plus 2. Notice the y plus 2 cancels the y plus 2. The y cancels the y. It's the same thing on the top and the bottom. And what is left is 3 over 5. Multiply. Now when we say multiply, it really meant multiply and simplify. You can't leave your answer without simplifying it. So you're not going to see me write multiply and simplify down the road. This is the only time I'm going to put it there. So it's x over 6 times 3x plus 9 over x squared plus 3x. So that's equal to x over 6 times. Let's factor. I can take a 3 out of the top. If I take a 3 out, what's left is x plus 3. This one I can take an x out. If I take an x out, what's left? X plus 3. And let's look and see if anything cancels. The x plus 3 is x plus 3. The x cancels the x. Notice 3 and 6. Doesn't have to be the same fraction. You can divide them both by 3. By 3, this is what? 1. By 3, this is 2. So my answer is 1 on the top, and what's left on the bottom? Just 2. 1/2. Multiply. Again, means multiply and simplify. 3d squared over 4 times 12d over 9. Here we go. By 3 this is 1, by 3 this is 3. By 4 this is 1, by 4 this is 3. Am I done? Not really. By 3, this is 1. By 3, this is 1. So when you multiply now, in the bottom there's a 1. 1 times 1 is 1. Let's look at the numbers. 1 times 1 is 1. D squared times D. When you multiply, you add your exponent. There's a 1 here. We just don't put it. 2 plus 1, which is 3. You don't need that 1. 1 over 1 is 1, but we never put the 1. So the answer is D3. Five. Again, divide, that means divide and simplify. V squared over W squared divided by V over W. So this is V squared over W, well, let me put it next to it so save some paper. V squared over W squared times W over V. And when you look at V squared, it's actually V times V. W squared is W times W over V. And as long as it's top and bottom, you can cancel that. This V cancels one of these. This W cancels one of these. What's left? V over W. Divide and simplify again. 2r squared over 3 divided by r cubed over 9. This becomes 2r squared over 3 times 9 over r cubed. That's an r here. I see the 9, the 3. By 3, this is 3. By 3, this is 1. Now, what about the D's? I mean the R's. There's no D's here. What about the R's? This one has 2 of them. This one has 3. So when you look at that, 3 times 2, which is what? 6r squared, which means 6 times r times r. In the bottom, you only have r cubed. And what you notice is this cancels this and this cancels that. So what's left there is 6 over r. Now again, division, first step is we change it to multiplication by flipping the second number, or the second rational expression. It's not a number. And now let's see if I can factor that. 3 over, can I factor this? X minus 3, X plus 2. Times this one, x plus 4, x minus 3 over the 5. And let's see if anything the same on the top and the bottom. This one and that one. What is left? 3 times x plus 4 over 5 times x plus 2. You can leave it like this. That's good. Or if you want to, you can multiply it through 3 times x, 3x plus 12 over 5x plus 10. Either one is good. This is good. That's good. One is not better than the other. Me personally, I like it this way. try one more subtraction like these. Divide 4 over x squared minus 3x plus 2. Actually, okay. Divided by 7 over x squared minus 1. We're going to change the division to multiplications. Now let's factor that. That's x minus 2x minus 1 times, when you factor that, x minus 1, x plus 1, the difference of two squares, over the 7. And I can see quickly that these two are the same. So my answer is 4 times x plus 1 over 7 times x minus 2. This times that, this times this. Add 6 over x plus 5y over x. Notice the bottom is the same for both of them. We leave it and we add the two tops. Subtract x over x minus 3 minus 2 over 3 minus x. Notice these two are not exactly the same, but they're kind of backward. So if you remember that, we said there's a quick fix to that. If you want to make the bottom the same, reverse that one. You can't just change it because you want to make them the same. So if you switch this, you better switch that sign. Notice this sign is minus. You need to make it now a positive. So switch this and switch this. Now the bottom is the same, stays the same. The top will be x plus 2. Now the LCD here, to add or subtract, the bottom has to be the same. Obviously we can see the bottom is not the same. I gotta look at the 15 and the 21. Well, 15 is 5 times 3. So it's 5 times 3, 1, 5, 1, 3. The 21 is 7 times 3. These are prime numbers. Can't simplify them anymore. So your LCD for the numbers is going to be the multiplication of all the different factors, each of them raised to its highest power. Its highest power. 5 times 7 is 35, times 3, 105. So my LCD is going to be 105, and between x and x squared, we take the one with the higher power, that's x squared. So I need to rewrite both fractions such that this looks like this. Well, to make this one looks like this, I need to multiply it. Notice 5 times 3 is missing the 7. I need to multiply it by 7 and 1x. because 7 times 15 is 105, and x times x is x squared. So if I multiply the bottom by 7x, I got to multiply the top by 7x. What's 2 times 7x? 14x. This one I need to multiply it by 5. 5 times 21 is 105. I already have the x squared, which means I got to multiply this by 5. That's 20. Now these two are the same. Leave it alone, and that's 14x minus 20. The only thing I can do at this point, I recommend doing that even if it doesn't do us any good here, is factor the top. What's left is 2 here. That's 7x minus 10. The reason I recommend that is a lot of times when you get to this point you can simplify. Not in this example, but in other ones you could simplify. Simplify. Let me give you a compound fraction. 4 over c squared minus 6, 10 over c squared minus 8. Now I want to simplify that. What I'm going to do here, the quickest way, is to multiply every one of these by the LCD. And the LCD is c squared. So multiply this by c squared, this one by c squared, c squared, c squared. And if you do that, you should eliminate all the fractions. This will cancel that. This will cancel this. So I will have 4 minus 6c squared over 10 minus 8c squared. Remember, I said always try to factor everything. If you look at the top here, you can factor a 2 out. If you take a 2 out, what's left? 2 minus 3c squared. This one also you can take a 2 out. What's left? 5 minus 4c squared. And the 2's will cancel each other out. And your answer, that's your final answer, is 2 minus 3c squared over 5 minus 4c squared. Don't try to cancel the c squared with the c squared. You have a subtractions here. You can't. It can only be multiplication, the whole thing, like this one. Let's try another one like this. Simplify. Y over 5 minus 5 over y, the whole thing divided by 1 over 5 plus 1 over y. If you look at these 4 fractions, the LCD for them is 5y. So multiply each one by 5y. And you can see the 5 cancels the 5 here. The y cancels the y. The y cancels the y. The 5 cancels the 5. So what's left? What is y times y? Y squared. What's 5 times 5? 25. Y times 1 is y. 1 times 5, which is 5. Can I factor this? Y minus 5, y plus 5 over y plus 5. And notice again the y plus 5 is the same on the top and the bottom. So my final answer when you simplify it is just y minus 5. Solve 2 over b minus b over 2 equals 0. Again, my LCD is going to be 2 times the b. So let's multiply each one of them by the LCD. So I'm going to multiply each one by 2b. And notice the b cancels the b, the 2 cancels the 2. So what is 2 times 2? 4. What's b times b? B squared equals 0 times anything is 0. That is a quadratic equation. I can write that 2 squared minus b squared equals to 0. I can factor it. 2 minus b, 2 plus b. And set each factor equal to 0 and solve it. If I take the minus b to this side, change sign. That's one answer. If I take the 2 to this side, change sign. b equals what? Negative 2. So I have two solutions, the minus 2 and the plus 2. A couple more examples here. Solve y minus 1 over y plus 5 equals 1/2. Again, my LCD here is this times this. So I'm going to multiply each one of these sides by the LCD. So I'm going to multiply this side by 2 times y plus 5. And multiply this side by 2 times y plus 5. This y plus, because that's really over 1. This y plus 5 cancels this y plus 5. And again, that's over 1. This 2 cancels that 2. So what's left on this side is 2 times that. And what's left on this side is 1 times y plus 5. 2y minus 2 equals y plus 5. Move the y to this side, move the negative 2 to that side. Change sign. 2y minus y equals 5 plus 2. What's 2y minus y? Y equals 7. One more. 4 over y plus 1 equals 2 over y minus 2. The LCD for them is y minus 2 times y plus 1. So let me multiply each side by the LCD. Remember I said the LCD, you can make it a fraction over 1 if you want to. Y minus 2, y plus 1. Y minus 2, y plus 1 over 1. The reason I'm putting the 1 because I want you to see that this is canceling that one. And this one cancels that one. That's why I'm putting it over 1. So to show you top and bottom you can cancel. So what's left here is what? 4 times y minus 2 equals 2 times y plus 1. Continue with that. That's 4y minus 8 equals 2y plus 2. All the y's on one side, all the numbers on the opposite side. 4y minus the 2y equals 2 plus 8. 2y equals 10, y equals 5. The one thing I'm not telling you to do it, but I'm doing it in my head. When I get an answer, I check it in to make sure it doesn't make the bottom 0. Because if it does, I can't divide by 0. I should test my answer. I should plug it in and see if this side equals to that side. But I'm lazy. So the second best thing I can do, if I don't want to do the testing there, is make sure that value does not make the bottom 0. If it does, you can't use it. I'll try one more. Hopefully this will backfire on me where I can't use one of the answers. Solve again. 6 over x plus 5 minus 4 over x minus 5 equals 12 over x squared minus 25. If I factor this, I'm leaving a space intentionally here. If I factor that, that's x minus 5, x plus 5. So when you look at these 4 fractions, or 3 fractions, you can see my LCD is the multiplication of the different factors. So it's really x minus 5 times x plus 5. That's what the LCD is. So what I'm going to do here, multiply every one of them by x minus 5, x plus 5. That's why I left the space. X minus 5, x plus 5 over 1. X minus 5, x plus 5 over 1. So I'm multiplying every one of them by the LCD. And you can see now the x plus 5 cancels that x plus 5. The x minus 5 cancels the x minus 5. On this side, the plus 5 with the plus 5, the minus 5 with the minus 5. I have 6 times x minus 5 on this side, minus, this will be 4 times x plus 5 equals 12. 6x minus 30, negative 4x, negative 20 equals 12. Collect like terms. What's 6x minus 4x? 2x. What's negative 30 minus 20? Negative 50 equals 12. 2x equals, take the negative 50 to this side, becomes a plus 50. 62, x equals 31. And notice the 31 does not make this one 0. It does not make this one 0. It does not make that one 0. So that is a good answer.